All right, guys. So I know you've spent some time getting ready for our final over the weekend, so here are the answers. What is the measure of the angle in the diagram below, and name the relationships? So, like I told you, naming the relationships is half of what you have to do, but they will stay on the wall. But let's take a look. I'm going to start here where I have some vertical angles because those are the easiest for me. I know that F is vertical to 110. So we are going to say that F is equal to 110 degrees because of vertical angles. And I know that F and I are going to add up to be 180 degrees because they're on that flat line, which is 180 degrees, half a circle. So if F is 110, then I is 70 degrees. I'm doing this in my head, so let me know if I make a mistake. Because those two angles, we're just going to say they're supplementary. Okay, and if I is 70, then J is also 70 because I and J are vertical. So vertical to I, and I guess I should put here F as vertical, well, to 110. I guess that one doesn't have a letter. So this is 110. This is 70. Here we have 70. Okay, I'm going to go over here to A. A and 150 are on a flat line, so we are going to call them supplementary. So A must be 30 because 30 plus 150 is 180. And we'll call that supplementary. And I guess you could say to 150. You don't have to. So this is 30. Okay, so look, I can find B because I have, because of this is a triangle, right? And 110 plus 30 plus B is going to be 180. So 110 plus 30 is 140. So that means B must be 40 because those would add up to be 180. So B is 40 degrees because angles in a triangle add up to 180. That's the reason. And let's see here. Look over here. Now we're going to start talking about these parallel lines. So I know this line and this line, and if it went on forever, would be our parallel lines. So then if we look at this line here is a transversal, I know some more information such as I know that D and C are corresponding angles, so they're going to be exactly the same. And I know that C and 140 are supplementary, so C must be 40 degrees. So C is 40 degrees because supplementary to 140. And if C is 40 degrees, that means D is 40 degrees. And if D is 40 degrees, that means H is 140. So what do we do? D 40 degrees corresponds to C, and H is 140. And you could either say H is 140 because it is supplementary to D, or because it's alternate interior to 140, right? So both of those things, you can check yourselves because both of those things are going to happen. And then in this triangle with G, okay, I have two angles. I have 110 and 40, so I should be able to figure out G. So 110 and 140 is 150. So G must be 30, is 30 degrees because triangles add to 180, right? So 30. What's left? E. How can I figure out E? This one's a little bit tough. Oh, well, no, it's not that tough, right? Because those lines are parallel. So if we look at it this way, and let's choose a different color. Let's do blue. If we look at it as this is our transversal, right, then E and 110 are alternate interior angles. So they are the same. So E is also 110 degrees because they are alternate interior. And then you can think, you could also have done, the other thing I was going to say, 110 degrees, is this is a quadrilateral, this kind of yellow one of the sides I didn't get, but this kind of yellow shape here with 4 sides is a quadrilateral, and all of those insides should add up to be 360, and 110 plus 40 plus 140 plus 70, I think they do, if I'm doing this in my head correctly, add up to be 180, so you can kind of check yourself. Okay, so here we had, let's see, here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 angles that you found with reasons, right? So 5 points would come from the number of angles you found, and 5 points would come from the reasons. All right, what's the next question here? Oh, so it's kind of a similar question. Finding x, which is, in this particular case, you guys, the only thing we could find is the angle. We're not finding the length there. And we're going to find it by thinking about, this is a lot easier than we think, thinking about this kind of being a triangle, right? So the first step that I'm going to do, if we have 90 and 73, what's left over to make 180? I'm having a hard time doing it in my head. I'm going to write it out. 163, so 173 is 10, so 17 degrees. So if this angle of this triangle is 17 degrees, then if you take a look at these two lines are parallel, right? It tells us that that's what those angles mean. These two lines are parallel. That means then x and 17 degrees are alternate interior angles, and they are the same. So because they are alternate interior angles, x is equal to 17 degrees. But we had to figure out that 17 degrees first by using that right triangle. All right, executives at Google predict in the year 2020 that they will sell 2,000 driverless cars. After that, they expect sales to increase by 20% each year. Write an equation to model this situation. Use the equation to determine how many driverless cars will be sold by Google in the year 2055. Okay, anytime something is increasing by a percent or a rate, we know that is an exponential equation. We know that an exponential equation is y equals our starting value, which we call a, times 1 plus or minus the rate, we call rate r, to the power of x, which is usually time. So it could be t, could be x. So we use 1 plus the rate when something is increasing, and we use 1 minus the rate if something is decreasing or decaying, is what the word they use a lot with exponential relationships. In this case, we are increasing by 20% each year. So y is equal to, we start off with 2,000 driverless cars, and it's increasing by 20% each year. So be careful writing your percents. All of the people who got this wrong on their interim test got it wrong because they made the wrong decimal. Always think of percent. You could always say, how would I write actual cents? How would you write 20 cents? That would be 0.20 or just 0.2. Don't get that confused with 2%, which would be 2 cents, which would be 0.02. Okay, so we have 1 plus 0.2 to the power of x, which is our time. So here's the question. What is our x going to be equal to? We're trying to figure out by the year 2055. Okay, so we're trying to figure out by the year 2055, the first year we have is 2020. We want to figure out when it's going to be 2055. And 2055 is 35 years after 2020. So our x is going to be equal to 35. Now we can just use our calculator to find the answer. And the numbers we're going to put in the calculator. On the main page of a calculator, you don't get to put in variables. So we will just put in 2000, and then we can just do 1.2 because 1 plus 0.2 is 1.2. And this is going to be 35. So what does that look like? Let's see. We're just, oh, I'm in matrix mode here. Clear that out. We'll just put in 2000 exactly like I have it written. Parenthesis 1.2, parenthesis to the power of 35. Okay, so that is a lot. What kind of cars are we going to do? Driverless cars. Look at how many. It's over, oops, over a billion. 1,181,366. So 1.181366. So 1, 181,336. But I'm just going to leave it at 336 because you can't have a part of a car, right? I guess we could make it 337 if we wanted to, but I'm rounding down here. So that's the number of cars, driverless cars of just Google, or no, it's just Google's making the prediction, in the year 2055. Number of cars driverless in 2055. Okay, and I'm going to stop here and start question number 7 in a new video.